How are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. This is Mr. Wilfred. I'm so excited that you guys are logging in. This is our very next unit we're going into. If you are just getting to us for the first time, this is our very first lesson actually on Google Classroom, as well as video, as well as in this unit. So I want you to take time as you go and watch this video. Pause it, take notes from time to time, go back and forth. As well as I hope everybody for this particular lesson would have went back and watched the actual first video of science about frogs and some other things that was on that video first, and then watch this one. First that video, then this one. But I'm so excited for you guys to join me. Good morning. Let's dive right in. Now, as we are doing this lesson, feel free to pause it at any time to take notes or to maybe just recap maybe something that I've said that I might have said too fast, okay? So let's start off like this. So we are talking about populations and samples, okay? This is our next unit, and honestly, there are three units that we're gonna go through, and they are all underneath a bigger title called something called statistics. But this is one of them, and it starts off with us understanding what is a population and what is a sample. That's what I want us to talk about today. And then for this, we're going to dive into bias samples and other data collecting, two different types of ways to collect data, to analyze it, and to get more meaning out of it. I believe statistics is one of the most meaningful types of math that is out there. So what we're going to learn right now, as well as the video that you just watched, talks about something that is real life and is very well done on a regular, everyday basis to analyze it. So let's start off by having you watch the video. If you haven't watched it already, please go back and watch it right now. So watch that video that I attached on Google Classroom. After you watch this video, answer these two questions. What was the animal of interest in the video? And what was the scientist testing for? Right, let me say it again. What was the animal of interest in the video? And what was the scientist testing for? Okay, so take a moment, pause this video, watch that one, and then come back. All right, so after you watch this video, you should have recognized that the actual animal of interest that was inside that video, right, that they were talking about so much was frogs, right? They wanted to talk about frogs, right? I'm going to write right here for you. If you need to, this is an area for you to take notes. If you're able to print out the worksheet, great. If you're not, just write it down somewhere and just keep your notes, okay? The animal interest was frogs. And the reason why, I don't know if you caught the word they said afterwards, was population, right? They talked about the population of frogs, right? Okay? And then what were they testing for? What were the scientists testing for in this particular situation? They was testing for fungus, right? To see if there were fungus, see if there was infections. Give me one moment. What are you doing? Oh, my wife got them. So I'm trying to figure out how to pause this video so that way I can go yell at them. But anyway, so they were testing for infections and fungus, right? And really, because they were testing for this, right? You can write that there. They were testing for fungus / infections. Right, and they were testing for these things, and the reason why is because they really was trying to figure out why was there a decline in the frog population. That was the problem that they were trying to figure out. There's been a decline in the frog population. Now, why is that, right? And the reason is possibly because of this fungi or infection. And then they wanted talking about, okay, well, we need to test frogs. Now, if you remember what they mentioned there, right? They mentioned something like this. They said testing one frog is not enough. It's not enough. So they wind up having to do something called a sample. Now, could they test every single frog in that entire forest? No, it's probably impossible to find every single frog and test it. But if you grab a large enough sample, which is a smaller version of the population, right, which was frogs, they would give a better understanding or a better estimate as to if this fungus was the problem for the decline that they're seeing in the frog population. So I want to talk about, and the essential question that we're going to look at is how can we use random samples, populations to solve real world problems? Now, we're not going to look at that essential question and answer it completely today. Our goal for today is simply to identify and differentiate between populations and samples. Can we identify a population of the best population? Can we identify the best possible sample in different situations? That's our goal for today. But I do want you to understand that we are going to look forward to using these to solve real world problems. So a population is a group of interest and a survey or some type of test. Now, in this case, the group of interest was frogs that was needed to complete this type of test or this survey or this type of question that they wanted answered. And a sample is a smaller group that's taken from the population. So we know the population was frogs. If we take 100 frogs out of the total, right, and we don't know what the total is, but we take 100 of them out of there, a specific number out of the population, that's our sample. All right, so what I want us to do is this. We're going to look at a number of different things to tell if that's what's the best population and what's the best sample. Now, before we get there, I do want to take a second to talk about collecting data, because as you can see in the video, there was collecting data by swabbing some of the frogs. They were collecting data to determine if this fungus was there. You need to be able to also understand how to collect data. So I want you to just think for a second on different situations, and I hope you copy down these notes here. Right, I'm going to clear the text. Right, I want to talk about how do we collect data. What would you do in order to collect data in these 4 different situations? So take a second. I'm going to read them out loud, and you write down what your answers are. I'm going to share what I think the best answer might be to collect this type of data, but your answer may not be wrong, so don't erase it and say that was wrong, okay? This, once again, is not a in-class discussion like we normally would have, but I think this would, no matter what your answers are here, it might be a great way to collect this type of data, but I want you to be able to think. One thing I love about statistics of math is that you do get to partner with scientists. You do get to partner with discovery and understanding stuff. And that's what's amazing about this particular level of math. You can think as well as apply your math skills. So A says, how might you collect data to answer this question? Does the soup taste good? Take a second to jot down what your answer might be. How might you collect data to answer the question, does the soup taste good? Okay. And now I'm just going to read them, and I'm going to share after I give a pause. I'm pausing so you can write down your answer, right? After I pause and give you a chance to write down your answer, I'm going to share what my answer would be for every single one of these. And they may not be the exact answer. Your answer may be right, but I'm going to share what I would have put for my answer. Now, for this one here, does the soup taste good? The way that I would collect the data of this particular question is I would simply taste the soup. That's how I would collect the data, right? Does it taste good? Let me taste it. If I taste the soup, I can tell you whether or not it does, right? That's collecting data right there. B, how might you collect data to answer this question? I know, and some of you were like, whoa, that was very simple. Yeah, it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be, well, I will give the soup to 12 different people and see if it tastes good to them. It's simply asking, does it taste good? So I would taste the test. Now, could I serve it? Could I give it to more people? Absolutely. That would give me a better argument as to the reason it tastes good, because I would have other people validating my point. But simple, the test to collect it is, the way I'll collect data is just taste it. Now, B, how might you collect data to answer this question? How many movies do students in your class see in a month? How many movies do students in your class see in a month? Okay, take a second, write down what your answer might be. How would you collect data about this? How would you collect data to find out how many movies do students in your class see in a month? All right. Now, I don't know if you put the same as me, but I'm going to write this. I'm going to write, well, how I would figure that out is I would ask the students, and then I would create a chart where I would ask students in my class, right? And then create a chart. Okay. This is how I would collect the data, right? I would collect the data by asking students, how many movies do you watch in a month? And maybe you say 3. And I ask another one, 6. Okay, and now I'm just creating my chart and I'm collecting the data just like that. Okay. How might you collect the data in this situation? For this question, how many pets do people own in my neighborhood? Right? So not in my school. how many, or in my neighborhood, right? I mean, you could use school as a valuable resource to get the people that are in your neighborhood. But how many pets do people own in my neighborhood? How much you collect the data for that? All right. I'm recording, but yes, I don't have to. This one, as well as the last one, is I would go around to my neighborhood. I would ask the reason why, and somebody might have wrote, I would go, I would go and look, drive around and look to see what pets they have. But keep in mind, it says pets, not dogs. So don't just look for dogs or cats outside. I would definitely see, maybe they have gerbils or hamsters, something that you can't see so quickly, right? I would ask my neighbors, right? I would ask my neighbors. That's how I would collect the data. I would ask them, say, how many pets do you have? How many pets do you own? And I would get the data. How much you collect the data to answer this question? What is the median price of a home in our town? What is the median price of a home in our town? Take a second, write down what your answer might be. How would you collect the data for that? What is the median price of a home in Central Islip? Right? What is the median price there? All right. So in this case here, you could do a couple things. You can ask people, but if they're talking about in the town in general, I would look it up. I would look it up online. I would look up not just the medium. I would look up what is the cost of houses. So I would look up the cost of houses. Oh, sorry, for homes. I would look up cost for homes. Okay, that's what I would end up doing. I would look up what is the cost for homes in this town, right? And that way I would be able to take that data together and then find what is the median of that particular data. Okay, I just want to talk about collecting data just because I want your minds to be able to think. You are becoming more, as we get into these next couple units, you're going to be able to analyze data, analyze it, and pull out information that is not just words that are talked to you. You're going to have to pull out information yourself. And if you become good at that, that's a good indication of your problem solving skills and be able to analyze what the given situation that you have. So if you want to copy down my answers for this, please do so. I'm going to give you a couple seconds and then I'm going to clear the text. All right. Okay, great. Let's go on. So I want to go on to what you're actually going to have to do for your homework and your independent practice today. Right. Once again, you are going to complete the 12 questions that are following this one, and you're going to take pictures of it, complete it, and then upload them onto the actual Google assignment. All right. So modeling here says this, right? We're going to talk about population or sample. That's it. Either population or sample, and I want you to find the best choice. All right. So a beverage company, number one of my modeling, says a beverage company wanted to see if people in the United States like their new logo. So people in the United States, do they like their new logo, right? And which choice best represents a population? Now, remember, a population is whatever we're talking about, whatever the actual given people are. It's not a specific amount of people out of a population. It's the area of interest. So in this case, the area of interest is people in the United States. Talk about people in the United States. Which choice represents a population? The best population. Yes. Can you give me 1 minute and I'll help you, buddy? Okay. We have a selection of logo artists, right? Which are logo artists. It definitely could be a population. This is a particular type of people. However, it's a particular type of people, right? We're talking about people in general. Did they mention a specific type of people? No, they mentioned people. So I think that was a little too specific for us there, right? What about B? Every person in the United States, right? Every person in the United States. Not bad. C says a selection of shoppers from different states. So people who shop, right? Maybe people who buy beverages from different states, right? 3,800 children aged 5 to 15. Now, all these are good answers in some sense. We want to know what's the best one to represent population. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about bias. We're going to talk about, okay, well, which one makes sense in terms of bias. Now, in this case, if it's a beverage company, if they said people who like Coke right? And then the option was shoppers who buy Coke from different states, then we would have a bias situation there. Now, we're not talking about bias at all. We're just talking about in general. I want people from all over, not people who go to shopping, because the people who shop may not really give me a good representation of all the people in the United States, right? They may only like Starbucks because they go shopping, or any type of cafe or something like that. The children may only give me apple juice as their as something that they really like. So they may not give their best input in terms of the logo, right? So you want people from all over. So the best answer here that represents the population the best would be every person in the United States. Because what was the area of interest here? People in the United States. Since people in the United States was the area of interest, we want people. We want people and persons in the United States to represent this population. So this would mean that B is without a doubt the best answer for this one. So what you're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to do just like I did, right? You're going to read it and you're going to pick the best one. That not only going to represent population. Sometimes the question is going to say represents sample, right? So you're going to pick the best one, circle it, and now you're going to take your pictures and upload it. Let me do one more with you, and then I'll let you do another 11 all on your own, okay? So let me do one more example with you, and then you can do 11 on your own. Now, if you have any questions, you can always upload them onto the Google Classroom page, okay? So let me do one more with you. I'm gonna do the first one of the independent practice / your homework 8.1. It says a musician wanted to see what people who bought his album thought about the songs. A musician wants to see what people who bought his album thought about the songs. You need to find the best, which one best represents a sample. A sample. Now, the population here is just people who bought the album. That's the population. People who bought the album is the population, the large people of interest here. Right? The people of interest is people who bought the album. However, we need a sample, which means a specific amount of people out of that population. Now, once again, how did I identify the population here? I read the problem. I noticed it said people, right here it said people who bought his album. People who bought his album. That is my population, people who bought his album. But I need a sample. Which one best represents a sample? So the first one says every person who bought the album. That's a population, right? That's the population in which is the interest here. B says a selection of people who didn't want to buy the album. How is that going to help me in terms of this, right? We wouldn't write that as our way of collecting data about this particular situation. We would say, all right, let me choose people that never bought the album to collect data. We wouldn't do that, right? So B can't be it. 250 girls who bought the album, not bad. That is a sample, right? Or a selection of 3,294 people who bought the album, right? Now, this sample on the bottom is a lot more. I like it better than C. The reason why is because, one, it's not biased on girls, right? Girls may, if this was a boy band like Justin Bieber who was selling his album, girls will probably love every single song and not give him a real understanding of which one was the best song on his album or which songs really they thought was good. But if you pick a selection of people, not girls, not boys, just a selection of 3,294 people who bought the album, who actually bought the album, you will get a better idea of what song was actually good. So this is what it means to take a sample. So in this case, I would say the answer for this one, which I would put a circle around, would be letter D. Would be letter D. Because I'm not just looking at, keep in mind, you may have picked C because you said C was a good sample, and it's not a bad sample, but it's not the best. Keep in mind, they're looking for the best there. We're looking for the best sample. We're looking for the best population here. So read each example, read each problem, each multiple choice option, and find the one that's the best sample or population. Population should stand out to you based on the actual sentence that they gave you in the beginning. Number 2 says a gaming website wanted to find out which console its visitors owned. Console visitors owned. That should help you, right? Right. This one here is sample. So I'm talking about out of the population, which one is the best sample here, okay? So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, right? If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Complete the remaining 11 problems, upload them onto Google Classroom. I look forward to seeing your completed work. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I am ready whenever you are to talk and help you as much as I can. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you later.